No words. Just this show. It just continues to do it to me. I mean, just look at what it did this time around.
So you're ready.
Yes. Oh.
Oh my god.
Told you this was bad news. Oh, it might be the best cold open this season. Oh! What?
Get out of here!
Is that the chick that... Oh, man, now they're all on... Oh, no! I wonder if she's the one who killed Rainer.
I'm gonna take my chances.
Oh, God.
Okay, you guys can come.
Oh, no!
Okay, Cora.
Oh, God.
The other races are grinding us down and taking what is rightfully ours, but we can fight back. With an army of
Oh
7
my
million strong.
God, that's where...
Because that is Vought's true destiny. You will be the man who will lead us.
Oh, my God. It's just so good. Let's not wait. Let's start this from the top. What's up, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, and yes, another boys review. Let's not waste any time. Pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler free into the boys season 2, episode 6, The Bloody Doors Off. And this show just blew the bloody doors off, man. Like, I still have, like, I literally just finished watching the episode. I don't even think it's fully set in what they did this time around. Like, this show just continues to give you everything you want. I mean, you saw my reactions. Things happen that grotesque you and make your head explode because you don't see when the head is going to explode on this show, and the way it can creep up and the different things that it gives you all that excitement and fun and adventure that we get in superhero movies, but specifically this flavor of superhero anything when you're talking about the boys. I mean, this is a show about soups where heads are exploding all the time and bodies are exploding. And yet, while all that's going on, they are weaving just an unreal story right now. Episode 6 centers around Sage Grove Center. And Sage Grove Center is a mental institution, so to speak. And everything this episode surrounds this place. The boys' mission is to break in and find out what's going on at this place. Stormfront has a tie to this place, and because of that tie, it plays into the relationship that's currently going on with Homelander, and all of that boils to a head that I just wasn't ready for it. And like my head literally exploded. And this time, no heads were actually exploding on screen. But the reveal that we get by the end of this episode, I just didn't see it coming. I think it's genius. And I love that the boys is just willing to go to all these different places. And while they're doing it with just writing and story that is so good. As I mentioned, the episode kind of centers around Sage Grove Center, and the boys need to break into it. And as they're kind of working their way into breaking in, some stuff kind of goes sideways, and you could say that the inmates kind of get out of the asylum. The only thing is that this asylum isn't a normal asylum. I won't spoil what's going on, but if you can kind of put two and two together, things go down that kind of break things out into chaos, and we end up with the team getting separated. So we spend a lot of time. Actually, this is a massive episode for Frenchie. Finally, right? I've been saying, like, Frenchie gets all these small little bits, and his small little bits are even smaller than what we've been getting with Kimiko. But this time, man, we get a really solid Frenchie story and like a lot of background information on Frenchie, where he's coming from, what things led to where he currently is, and how it all plays out. We get like a real legitimate history lesson on Frenchie and how he became part of the boys. And what's crazy is that history lesson ties directly into everything that's going on in this episode. Obviously he's going to have a couple moments with Kimiko, and there's still some interesting relationship stuff going on with them, as far as not like romantic relationship, but just their relationship in general. We meet a adversary to a degree that ties into that history of Frenchie's, that also ties into Sage Grove Center. And that whole storyline I just thought was really interesting. Who's brought in to play the character that kind of ties all of this together. I thought was a brilliant choice, and I thought he absolutely crushed it. And it really allows us to get a lot more information and understand a lot more about the boys and where they're coming from, and specifically their relationship with Mallory and how all of this started. We've been getting breadcrumbs here and there, and we get like the full curtain pullback almost. And you really understand specifically from Frenchie's point of view. And I loved all of that stuff. I mean, I just continue to be so happy with Tomer Capone's performance, man. He's so freaking good. And this episode, and the way they kind of tell his story, it takes a minute because you're like, wait, what's good? Huh? They jump a little bit, but the way he can play himself at different time periods, and you can see the evolution of the character happening as you're revealed some of these things chronologically. Just really solid stuff from him. And everything, like I said, that's going on specifically with Mother's Milk, Kimiko, and Frenchie inside of Sage Grove Center was really good stuff. Like I said, it's mostly Frenchie's, but they kind of are able to use that really well, and a lot of crazy stuff goes down while they're in there. The blowback of that happens to the other half of the team, which is Butcher, Huey, and Starlight. And what I love with this episode is that you get, Starlight is really finding herself this season and becoming, I think, who she's meant to be as a character. And she really doesn't take crap from anybody. And she's at a point where she understands that, Butcher's real stance is a dead soup is the only good soup out there. And she doesn't understand why he can't let go of that when someone hates Vought as much as he does. And Starlight has every reason to hate them as much as Butcher does. And they do another one of these really cool mirror episodes where the story is having your character say, I am nothing like you. Like, Starlight's like, don't give me that look. We have nothing in common. And at that point in the episode, you're seeing all of these physical things that they have in common and what's going on. And by the end of the episode, they're kind of forced to work together and find a common ground in what their mission becomes because of the blowback of what's going on at Sage Grove Center. And it allows you to see them in a different light by the end of the episode that is also unbelievably similar. The way that they have mirrored Butcher with Homelander and now with Starlight, really tight fascinating writing, and it just enriches the characters, and everything with this show is driven by the characters, and the more interesting and the more engrossed we can get with them, and they can get within themselves. You get to the end of the episode where you're like, I like what's going on here, and this could be really interesting. The rest of the episode, yes, we get a little bit more of the Deep and A-Train. The Deep is kind of luring A-Train with a fresca, so to speak, and we get to see some of that play out. A nice little guest appearance that happened in episode 5. I didn't put it together, but there's a mural of this person without the goatee beard thing he's got going on. I was like, oh, it's that guy. I was like, nice to see that guy pop in. If you're ER fans, you should pick up on who I'm talking about. But then, like, you just kind of getting to see that play out was interesting and fun. And what they're doing with the Deep and the church that he's a part of has been really interesting to see kind of how it all plays. And like, it's this underlining, like, C storyline that I'm just like, I wonder where this is gonna, like, something big is gonna drop with this at some point. I don't know what it is, but you can see something is building underneath all of the main storyline, and I like that. It's a little visit off to there. Same with Maeve. There's a little visit with Maeve, and ties back into some of the stuff that was going on with her in the Deep in episode 5, and brings us to a really interesting point with her character as well, where you're like, oh man. And again, just a little snippet, because this episode belongs to the boys and then Homelander, but specifically Stormfront. We get more of that relationship that we were seeing. The beginning of the episode just exemplifies like how terrifying this relationship that's starting to build is. And you get to see Homelander still he's grasping at straws like all over the place. And if everything isn't going exactly how he wants it, you continue to see crazy Homelander. And they do a thing with him where he's basically forced to wait. And where he is waiting, there is a clock on the wall that is ticking. And it becomes the only thing that you're hearing anytime we bounce back there. And it really makes like what should be a really short, brief stint seem so much longer. And knowing Homelander kind of leads to some things that pit him and Stormfront up by the end of the episode. And Stormfront, like I said, everything that she's doing is in and around Sage Grove Center, and how she ties in, how her history and past tie in, and how it ties into that character that I mentioned with Frenchie. It kind of ties the boys' story into Sage Grove Center. All really, really interesting stuff, but builds to this massive head between her and Homelander that, one, Aya Cash, I mean, and Anthony Starr, the two of them, especially when they're on screen together, are just phenomenal this year. But Aya Cash knocks this one out of the park, man. And without having to electrocute anybody, without anybody getting lasered down or heads exploding, gives us the most mind-blowing moment of the entire season. Like, you started to see it weaving as she's telling Homelander what's going on, and you're like, okay, she's letting him in here. That means this. She's giving us some information about herself, and then you're like, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, that... And the fact that Kripke and this creative team are going to this place, I can't wait to see what the last 2 episodes bring us. It is going to be an all-out, insane finish to the show. Like I said after episode 5, if you were looking for a little bit more pop and pizzazz and crazy and a little bit less story, these back 3 episodes are probably going to do it. And this, again, is another perfect mixture where the story is just so riveting and all of the stuff they give us is just awesome content, like from the action, the soup side of things. And they're not even using their big guns. That's all building to these last 2 episodes, and it's gonna be fantastic. So there you go, man. Those are all my non-spoiler thoughts on the Boys Season 2, Episode 6, The Bloody Doors Off. Like I said, Aya Cash and this show are just blowing the bloody doors off of all things television related. The things this show does, it just is mind blowing, and I am so in love with it and with Aya Cash. I can't say it enough. Phenomenal add to this group, and what they've done with her character and allowed her to do as an actor has just been fantastic. So I'm so excited for these last 2 episodes. The question is, are you, man? What'd you think of episode 6? The bloody doors off. You know, did the episode blow your bloody doors off? I'm gonna say that a lot. But how did you react, man? There's some big things going on, both visually and story wise. What was popping? What was working? What wasn't working? What did I miss? What have you picked up on? What things do you see coming? What do you think's gonna happen as we head toward episodes 7 and 8? Anything you're thinking about The Boys, and specifically episode 6, down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man as we approach ever so quickly, only a couple days before we get to episode 7, and then of course episode 8. You want to be here for the final part of the ride. We're all caught up, and I'm going to be on time, I promise. You want to be here for all that, and you haven't yet, why don't you jump over there, come join the C-Maniacs by hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts, and until next time, for the C-Mans Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man, I'm signing off, peace! Well, you guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.